So recently this has been brought to my attention again. This came out over a year ago, but it's not actually within the public or open to the architecture industry yet. It's still kept behind wraps, but something that's going to really revolutionize and absolutely wreak havoc within the architecture industry. As this company, I think it came from Israel company, that came out with this called Swap AI. I'm sure there are other companies. I heard Autodesk is also doing something similar, and we got Graphisoft also kind of looking at this type of thing. We're going to react to this video, and I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So let's go through the video. I think I'll talk over it. Essentially, they've got an AI-powered documentation thing. So you put in your building, and then it creates all of the documentation from your 3D model. This is pretty scary if you are an architecture graduate or a junior architect, because essentially, you're not needed anymore, because this can, it looks like you put in your Revit model, it scans it. I mean, I don't know exactly how this is working, what AI they're using, because I'm not too familiar. I'm not a software engineer, I'm not a coder, I'm just an architectural designer. Maybe someone can enlighten me in the comments of how they think they're doing this, because AI is such a broad term. It can mean anything really. But what I'm assuming is that it's able to scan it level by level, and essentially just put the parameters in of how you want to show the measurements, show the documentation things, and it just produces it. Sets up as a template, kind of similar to Photoshop in the sense of, when you can record your actions in Photoshop and then save that as a file, and you can repeat those actions by reopening it. I think it's maybe something similar to that. So we'll go onto the website. This is what it looks like. Swap AI. Now, I'm sure there's other firms that are doing this. So essentially, what I'm making this video about and reacting to is that it looks like, I said in a previous video about image generation and Midjourney and stuff, that AI is not really that big of an issue as long as it can't get an understanding of your 3D model. It's just for image generation, and it's more of a novelty, tacky thing, so nothing to worry about. And I see this and I think, oh man, that happened a lot quicker than we thought it was going to. I said that the danger was going to come when the AI can understand your 3D model, and with this, it looks like the AI can understand your 3D model. So now this is going to impact the industry so much, I think, because think about it. All the documentation now can be done by AI. If you're an architecture firm, what are you going to do? Hire like 5 or 10 architecture graduates, you pay them. I'm just going to use the base known salary. It could be between 60,000 to 100,000 a year, whatever you pay a junior designer. That's just random numbers I'm coming up with. As a firm, let's say you pay $60,000 a year for a graduate to do these kind of buildings, to do these documentation designs, or you could spend $5,000 going to software like this and producing all the documentation, and now you've just cut your cost. You've saved $50,000 that year. If you're a firm, what are you going to do? So that's not good news for junior architects. Now, the creators of this are saying this empowers the juniors to, let's see, where it says somewhere in here that, yeah. Oh man, this is like pretty BS, man. I'm gonna be honest. By automating the documentation and annotation of workflows typically reserved to more junior architects and firm, now you can increase their value by moving them into drafting work earlier. Bro, that is so not true. If I was a head architect of a firm and you're able to bypass the whole documentation area, just lay off the junior. Like, you don't need them. You will still need juniors, but you'll need like less than a quarter of what you have now, because you can bypass most of it. Like, yes, you'll still need junior architects for sure. Not all of them are redundant, but it gives even more of an incentive for firms to lay off people, because they talk about in the second paragraph here, this makes it a more attractive place to work so you can find the best young talent in the market. So essentially what I'm thinking here is not all junior architects are going to be redundant, but it's going to make the market more niche now. So if you're in university and you're a student and you're wanting to go into architecture, I'm really sorry, but within the next year or so, it's going to become even more competitive. I mean, it already is competitive now. Like, it is very hard to get a job in architecture. There are a lot of firms doing dirty things out there, and some people just have to put up with it. But that's just the reality of AI, and we're heading towards that. Please try not to hate me in the comments or anything, because I'm simply just discussing this, reporting on it, that it is going to get more competitive, and we are going to need less architects. So you can react to it in either two ways, because this is also happening in other industries like software, engineering, data analytics and inputs, where these AI tools are just coming out, and it is happening faster than we thought it was going to. You know, they haven't released the Swap AI to the market yet, but there's a reason for this, I believe, because if you were to release this to the market, other companies can jump in and grab that code that they use, grab the APIs, or I don't know about AI, but I don't know the technical terms, but they can recreate that, reproduce it for themselves and use it. So that's why I believe that they haven't released this to the public, because imagine yourself, you own a business where you've just created this kind of AI documentation thing. If anyone gets their hands on it, they can just copy it and do it for their own. So I think that this company is working secretly with firms in contracts, that the firm goes to them, gives them the model, then they do it, and they keep it in a tight contract just with that firm. And that way they're maximizing and capitalizing off this, because you'd make more money by keeping it a secret and only doing contract work for firm by firm cases. So I believe that's what's happening here. So this is not available to the public, but would not be surprised if there are architecture firms literally making their documentation from AI now, and we just don't know it, because it's better to keep something like this private and exclusive than releasing it to the public. You know, I'm not giving them shit or anything, or trying to be hateful or whatnot, but this is just simply the reality of what's happening. This is a company that's capitalizing off it. I'm sure there are a couple other companies that are doing something similar, and that's just the reality of it. That's why just because we don't see in the public that this has been released, doesn't mean that AI is still exponentially increasing in the advancement, and people are still advancing AI very quickly. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. And as I said before, you know, I talk about on this channel about adapting to AI, adapting to the new way of doing things, because if you don't, you're simply just going to get left behind. And unfortunately, I actually know of people in university, when AI came out, this was last year, they refused to take on. They literally said, I don't like AI. Everything should be done by hand and by person. I don't agree with this. I don't believe in this. And lo and behold, they're kind of getting left behind in the industry, that they haven't found a job in architecture, or they haven't progressed their skills. They're kind of scared to step into this, where even I agree, like, if we could put a huge halt to AI and just say, stop, everyone universally agree not to use it, you know, I would actually fully support that, because AI is going to create such sinister things in the future, I believe, and be used for such sinister purposes. But the reality is, you have no choice. I have no choice. You know, I'm like, at the firm I work at, I'm like the AI guy and stuff, and I'm so sick of hearing the term AI, but it simply is the reality that we're living in, and you have to get on top of it. You have to stay within it. At some point, some firm or some company will come out and release this to the public, and it'll be usable by everyone. And honestly, my best advice to you, if you are a young student or designer and you're worried about, you know, AI is going to take over, the reality is the competition is going to get harder. You're going to have to step up and kind of harness it, find ways around it, find ways to use it. That's what I'm doing. I'm staying on top of AI. I'm constantly researching what's coming out and keeping me as a valuable asset to my company. And, you know, luckily there still is a bit of time before this completely takes over, but that's my take on it. It doesn't look very good for the future, but really, you know, sorry if this is turning into a more nihilistic video, because I mean, it's easy to think that with AI, but you know, you just got to outcompete your competition, stay above the crowd, make yourself unique. You know, you can still bring skills that other people don't have. You got to be confident in what you're doing and just continue to bring that to the table, along with staying on top of AI, and that's really how you're going to prosper in the future. So that's my reaction to this kind of AI technology that's coming out. It's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. I'll be continuing to make videos reporting on the things that are coming out. And yes, very interesting times that we are living in. So thank you for watching.